Hello and welcome to week 6 of How to Start a Board Game Company from Off the Page Games. I'm Jay Cormier. Now I have to start this week off by saying that the title How to Start a Board Game Company is a bit of a misnomer, I think, because I have no idea how to start a board game company at all. I'm making this up as I go. It should probably be titled How I Started a Board Game Company, which may be right or may be wrong. Now, that aside, there's lots of things I could talk about this week. I was going to talk about a plan and a work back schedule, and I think I'll talk about that next week. It's definitely something you have to have in place. I'm still trying to actually figure out when is the best time to actually launch this on Kickstarter, and that's obviously huge to figure out all your work backs, but I'm not in a rush to kind of get it out, so if we don't hit certain deadlines, I can push that back, but we have to have a schedule. Let's talk about that next week. This week I want to start thinking about a base or a retail version versus a deluxe version. This is something that a lot of games are doing on Kickstarter, and it's something I'm contemplating and I'm wondering if I should do. And maybe it seems weird to do that this early since we don't even have full art and everything like that, but it's actually, I think, the right time to do this because you have to already start getting quotes and prices and differentiators and start figuring out if it's feasible and if it's attractive enough to do this. So I'm going to take you through the components of my game and go through what I think might be a base and a deluxe kind of concept and go through some of the thinking and maybe even get your opinion on whether you think it's even worth doing a deluxe version, or should I just kind of meld the two and only do one version? Let's take a look at my spreadsheet. Okay, let's take a look at some of the things I have. I have, all these are the different components I have. I've kind of listed out all the components I think that could be differentiated. And I've listed in the base game what it could be and what could be made out of versus the deluxe what it could be made out of. So for example, I have agent tokens in my game. So let me show you what those look like in my prototype art version. So this is the prototype art version. I have these printed out here. These are the 4 agent tokens. My idea is you'd fold them in half and stick them for the prototype. Now for the final one, in the retail version, maybe I could just make them out of cardboard, like punch board, and they go into a little stand and you move them around. I think when you're dealing with an IP, I think that's interesting to have the art. This, of course, is just me doing really lame art. I think these might possibly even be shaped like the character, so a full standing figure of the character, which would be really cool, but cardboard. But I imagine in the deluxe version, I think we could do either heat pressed wood blocks, so they're like wooden meeples but with the image printed on it of the character, or acrylic, and I gotta look in the prices of both of those. Where it's like see-through acrylic and then the characters printed on it, and that'd be cool to see like the front on one side and the back on the other side. I think that'd be pretty cool. So that's neat. That's kind of, I would be interested in a deluxe for that, but obviously not depending on the price and stuff. But then we also have immortal tokens, which are these down here. They're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4 immortal tokens. Again, this art here is me just finding it on the internet of the characters from the comic book. So again, those could be cardboard, and they could be the same thing, and that'd be cool. Hourglass token, same thing, cardboard or heat press. So those are some tokens that move around on the board. Cool. The board, I think flat. I had this idea once of doing a double layered board where there was some sunken holes because the board is going to be in a way that it's all these different blocks and you're moving around on the blocks. But I want to encourage people to not place their tokens over top of things that are important to see. So I try to encourage them to place maybe in the corners. And so I thought maybe I'll do a sunken area in the board. But recently I watched a podcast with Helena Capel from Burn Island Games, and she swore off of doing double layered boards. And so it made me think twice about that. I have to ask her personally about like what the deal is and why that's such a bad thing. But I'm trying to think if there's something funky I can do with the board or not. I might add some holes in the board for something called mayhem to stick in, so the mayhem sticks up. Let me show you the mayhem. So mayhem this is all my tokens, so I'll scroll up. Now it's kind of hard to see, but just that rectangle there, so like I made it of a bunch of people. Like, again, this is my clip art kind of stuff. Mayhem is basically a blockade that prevents people from moving from one block to another because there's all this mayhem, which is very thematic to the mind management storyline. So this could be a cardboard thing with like nubs on the bottom, and it sticks into holes into the into the board in the deluxe version. Maybe in the basic version it just sits flat. I don't know. Or maybe it could be made out of some other material, or maybe it could be maybe wood in the. I have a Mayhem down here is cardboard, and it could be plastic with pegs or cardboard that has slots in them. So I'm not really sure yet. So I'm getting there. That's good. That's Mayhem. That's cool. Timestamp tokens, cardboard, and then just wooden. So the timestamp tokens, bring back to this. I was just slide over here because I don't want my face to be in the way here. But zoom out, zoom back in. We have these timestamp tokens, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I think in the retail version, they'll just be like cardboard tokens, like, punch board tokens, and look better than this. They'll probably look like an actual clock or something like that. Maybe a digital clock, not a hand clock. I'm not sure. But I think in the deluxe version, I think these would be nicer. It's like wooden components. I think that'd be a funkier feel to it because you are, touching them quite a bit and moving around. So that's kind of nice. There's going to be a screen in the game where it's a one versus many game for those who are just catching up now. So the one player's got to hide what he's doing. And so I think in the base version, I think it can be obviously I don't want to be flimsy. I don't want to do anything in the base version that's not good. I want it to be because eventually once this is out retail, it's got to stand on its own as a cool product. So it'll be a screen, but I think it could be a thinner board than the deluxe, could be a thicker board to it, but maybe even better than that, it could have added functionality. Like maybe there's pockets in the inside of the screen that hold what you'll see coming up, these recruitment cards that tell the secret player missions that they're trying to accomplish. So that can maybe be in the board instead of just loose on the table. I think that would be cool to have added functionality that instead of just thickness or whatever. The shift system, this is actually kind of the first time I'm announcing this, and it's only for people watching this video series, but cool for you. This game has a really cool thing that Sen and I created called the shift system. And I don't want to, it's not Legacy, so it'll sound a little like Legacy, but it's not Legacy. But the concept of it is that because it's a one versus many game, we wanted to make sure that the challenge was always there regardless of what side you're playing as. And to ensure that that was true, we came up with a system where at the end of a game, whichever side won, the other side gets to open an envelope. And in the envelope is extra stuff, extra components, extra things, cards, rules that add to that team, that side, that player's abilities in the next game. So the next time they play, they have extra things that they can do to try to win. And they get to keep opening envelopes until they win. And then once they win, the other side gets to open envelopes. And there's currently 5 envelopes for each side, so 10 extra envelopes. And the best thing about it is nothing's ever destroyed. And once everything's open, you can mix and match and play in with whichever ones of these envelopes you want to. So it's very versatile. And it's almost like it comes with 10 free expansions. It's basically what it is. But we like the idea of the envelopes and it's sealed, and there's going to be story elements in here, and Matt Kint, the creator of Mind Management, is going to be creating some stories about why these envelopes are the way they are for the story. So it's very exciting. So I think these might be actual envelopes, or I heard a really cool idea of doing opaque baggies, like actually, black, for example, baggies, because then you can store them afterwards. And that'll be in the retail version. So everything's kind of sealed with a number printed on it or what have you. And so you know which one to open. There's 10 of them. But for the deluxe, and this is, I think is a cool thing, is game trays. And that should be with a Z, because this is a brand, Game Trays Storage. And so what I was thinking for these, and I'll work with the game trays, and that'll be a whole other episode, is actually going through the game trays form. They have a huge form that you fill out that I'm excited to get into, but I'm not ready to do that yet. Basically what it is what I'm thinking currently is having these kind of like pockets, 10 different pockets where all the content, the secret contents would be hidden in, and then there would be like a cardboard lid that slides in, and when you put it into the box, then that box siding prevents it from ever being opened. And then it gives you the ability to have a bit of art on the top of these lids, and then on the back of the lid would be an opportunity to add some rules about what's in here and why. And that's pretty cool. And then it also gives you an opportunity to store. That's just my idea, but one of the benefits of working with game trays is you tell them all the needs and how everything is needed and used in the game, and then they help come up with an idea that makes not only storing your components better, but helps play the game and set up the game easier. I'm excited to work with them. So that I think that's one of the big differentiators when you have a deluxe is having a game trays aspect to it, as long as it's functional and cool. So yeah, stick with me and we'll go on that journey together. We showed you the Mayhem tokens, that there be cardboard or plastic or maybe wood or something like that, or even just cardboard but has slots in them so they stand up. That'll be cool, I think. And then some more tokens, step tokens and mind power tokens will be cardboard, but I think will be wooden. So those are very simple right now. Again, prototype stuff. They just have a mind power token. That's it. And then step tokens are these. And then, let's see. So those I think will be cool as wooden. All those things as wooden tokens. It just feels way better in a deluxe. Recruits, that's the point of what the mind management player, the one versus many, the one player, he or she is trying to get 15. Currently it's 15, and we might tweak that down a little bit to 14 or 13 because it's pretty hard right now to get an X amount of recruits. And they win the game if they can do that. And I'm thinking in both the retail and the deluxe they're going to be meeples, but for the deluxe, I could possibly upgrade those meeples to have some sort of something printed on them, or a special shaped, not just a meeple shape, but like a unique shaped meeple. That would be cool for the deluxe. There's these things called commercial break tokens. They're just going to be wooden sticks. I can't show you those. They're just wooden sticks, kind of like roads in Catan. That's that. And mind management power cards. Let's see if I got those. So these power cards here, they could just in the retail version could just be cards, and also these rogue agents could be cards. Possibly though they could be kind of like boards, punch boards in the deluxe version. It might add a little bit of funness to it. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's overboard and not necessary or not. So we'll see. So that's what I'm thinking with regards to the base versus the deluxe. And pretty much very soon I have to put this together and send it to my manufacturer and get some quotes to figure out if this is feasible, if it's within range. Go back to my financial plan, look at how much I can afford to add to the deluxe version, and still make it profitable, make it work, make it financial feasible. And then ask around. I guess I think I'll ask other game designers locally and whatnot to find out, is that attractive? Is that interesting? Would you spend $10, $15, $20 more to get this version versus that version? Some other campaigns recently, instead of doing a deluxe version, they just add this section of extra things, add-ons. So it's only one version, but you can get the wooden extra component add-on if you want. So maybe I'll do that instead. I don't know. This is where I'm thinking right now. In addition to all this, I'm doing a lot of planning right now, and that's going to be the focus of next week's episode, talking about getting ready for Gen Con, which is coming up. Even though this game's not going to be hitting until next year, I want to start getting some demos out right now and get people at least experiencing it so they can be like, yeah, I played that last year at Gen Con. That was cool, or whatever. And try to hit as many conventions for the rest of the year as I can. And we'll talk about that along with something called the Ambassador Program, which I'll be announcing maybe next week. Maybe that'll be part of next week. But that's it for this week. A real simple one about base versus deluxe and what I'm thinking. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.